Well, hello. We are doing a lab today. I wish you guys were here so you could do it with us. So we're going to do the next best thing. I guess I'll do the lab. You can watch and then you'll fill in your data table and we'll pretend like we all did it together. Okay. If you actually do want to do this one at home, you can get some baking soda and vinegar and a plastic bottle and you can try it out. Okay. So here we go. You should have seen this online and done a pre-lab, which includes this part right here, the preparation. If you have not made a data table, you need to pause the video here, go make a data table because you're going to need it. All right. We've got our plastic bottle here. I'm going to take the lid off, and I think it says in part 1 that you're going to take your 2 chemicals and you're going to try to mask them first of all. Okay. So I've got my first chemical, which is the acetic acid, which is vinegar. And then I've got my graduated cylinder. In your procedure, I think it said to get 100 milliliters. Today, the kids, I told them that they could have a little bit more freedom to pick out kind of however much they wanted to use. And I gave them some specifications, which we won't talk about now, but they picked out about 30 milliliters. So you pour it into the container. And I've got my vinegar in there. I've got my sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. And this is a micro plunger, which is just a pipette with the end cut off. And I'm going to use that. I'm just going to pack in some baking soda. When we weighed it today, it was about 5 grams. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take all of this and put it on my scale, which I've got sitting here. So I'm putting this all on my scale because I'm going to get an initial mass for the part 1. So this is my initial mass for part 1, which is 43.6 grams. Okay. Then I'm going to take this baking soda, I'm going to put it in here like this. And if you've never done this before, it fizzes and bubbles and it's awesome. If you feel of it, you can feel a temperature difference, right? So you got bubbles and a temperature difference. Okay. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to weigh it again to get my final mass for part 1. Final mass for part 1. Okay. Which ends up being about 42.0. So 42.0. All right. So that's part 1. And I know that I'm ripping through this, but I'm trying to keep it under 5 minutes, which is all Screencastify will give me for free. So anyways, if we do part 2, we're just going to get a new bottle here. But this time, if we're talking about the law of conservation of mass and we're trying to prove that you don't lose mass in a reaction, in a chemical reaction, what I asked them to figure out is how could you make this better? Well, they noticed that when it was bubbling, a lot of the gas was leaving because there was no lid on it. So in part 2, they tried it with a lid. A lot of them did. Okay, so we're going to do the same kind of thing again. I'm going to get my baking soda ready here, which is this one. I'm going to get my vinegar ready, and I'm going to use the same amount, 30 milliliters, because I want to keep that constant. There are some things you keep the same in an experiment. Those are called constants. Okay, so there's my 30 milliliters. Here's my baking soda. And this time I'm also going to weigh my lid. I'm going to put that on there as well. Put all that there together. Oops, maybe. Let me just put it right there. Okay, so now I've got it all in there together. The weight is 44.0. 44.0 grams. That's the initial mass for part 2. Then I'm going to take my baking soda, and I've got to do this super fast now. I'm going to take my lid and put all this in here together. And to make this go super fast, I'm just going to drop the whole thing in. It's going to be crazy. Ready? Here we go. Okay, and when I do, I'm going to get my lid on there maybe. Oh, technical difficulties. And you can feel it kind of coming off there. Ugh. Really having trouble staying on. Okay, and like it's blowing it up. Okay. All right. I feel like we had some come out, but I'm going to let that go ahead and fizz and fizz. Okay, and my final weight on this is 43.2. 43.2. So that should be the final mass. Then what you're going to do is just answer the questions. And you're going to talk about why was mass conserved or why was it not conserved? Did the mass stay the same in part 1 and part 2? Which one was better? So good luck.